All right, everyone. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Jason Levine, and welcome to the Friday Masterclass here on Adobe Live, where today we're going to be talking about some of the most recently released features in Premiere Pro and After Effects. And one of them, the most highly anticipated features, is the new Captions panel inside Premiere Pro, which makes creating captions and editing and stylizing captions incredibly easy. You can really customize the way these things look, where they go. Even more importantly, and this is something that we didn't have in the beta when we showcased this after Max several months ago, the ability to create and automatically export an SRT file or a subrip subtitle file. And this is the standard captions file that you would upload, say, to YouTube videos to add, perfect captions to your uploaded content. So I'm going to take you through some of the workflows there. Along the way, we also have a couple of additional features in After Effects, including some new additions to the 3D workspace, really amping up the 3D capabilities in After Effects and real-time playback as well, real-time preview. And then we'll go to an older feature in Premiere Pro. The Warp Stabilizer has been given a little boost for soon-to-be spring 2021. It's a lot faster, it's a lot better looking, less kind of jarring, warpy type movements. And if you haven't looked at it recently, it's significantly improved. So a lot of fun stuff there. As always, we're coming to you on Adobe Live, YouTube, Behance, Twitter Periscope, and my YouTube channel. Wonderful to see you all. A couple of quick shout outs here. Got Tacklock from Charlottesville, Virginia. How's it going? Wade Acuff, how are you? Ferry and Quinn, Michelle, how's it going? Uma Korn, Chris Georginas, oh my God, man, how's it going? Boom, psh, Chris Georginas. Been on Adobe Live many, many times. Incredible drummer, super cool human. Great to see you, man. Clarissa Khan, Steve Festus, Kosaboom Z by HP. Always lovely to see y'all there as well. Okay, Lisa Chestnut, great to see you. And we've got the International Entertainment Hindi channel, Sebastian von Eichelin, Abdul Wahab, Abdullah, hello. We've got Eloy Lopez, and coming to us over on the Twitters, we've got MK, born in Detroit, District Create, how's it going? Keeping DC alive, Anonymous 9250, and a friend from Liverpool as well. I can't read it here. Sandra, how are you, Sandra from Liverpool? Lovely to have you with us today. Television show, Ricky Harrington, Des, great to see you all. Okay, want to remind you that I will be reading the live real-time chat over at Adobe Live. So will I ever get this right? b.net/Adobe Live. That's the chat that I'm reading live and in real time. On my channel and the others, I will look back at the end of this stream to get your questions. But the real-time chat that I'm reading right in front of my face is this one here. So if you want to ask questions and kind of get real-time follow-ups, that's the one you want to follow. Okay, so again, we've got quite a few things to cover here. Want to kind of get right into it. And I've missed you all. Sorry I couldn't see you last week. I was taking a little PTO to help a family member. Had my first air travel in 14 months. It was not spectacular. That's all I'm going to say about that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and kick over to Premiere Pro, and let's start talking about the new Captions panel. All right, so once again, this is really, it's a two-part feature, and I want to, for the masterclass here, be very explicit and very clear. We've just released the Captions panel. I've already had several tweets and several comments on YouTube. What about the auto transcription thing? Okay, that has not been publicly released just yet. That's okay, because this new captions process, one, is very easy. Again, you could export SRT files. The creation and editing and stylization of those captions is super unique to Premiere. And now I can't imagine myself not using captions for all the videos that I'm uploading, custom ones. The YouTube auto-generated ones are great. Also, this allows you to have multiple caption tracks. So if you wanted in different languages, it's very easy to do that, very easy to organize, very easy to lay those things out. And I'll have a complete video on the entire workflow. We can't cover every facet of the caption creation process today, but I'll do an upload on my YouTube channel where you can see every part of it. It'll be chapterized. That's going to be coming next week, so stick around for that. Okay, in the meantime, we're going to start with a piece of content with a smiley, yours truly here. And I'll just play a couple seconds of this. This is from a little promo that I cut for one of the recent masterclasses. Hi, it's Jason Levine from Adobe. Here's what you missed this week on Adobe Live. Today we're going to be talking about how Dynamic Link works with After Effects and Premiere Pro. Okay, so again, edited video here, put together. We want to add some captions, okay? So it's really simple. Here's how this works. We're going to go up to the new text panel. I realize I called it I think all the marketing says Captions Panel too, but the panel is actually the text panel. Text, okay? And in the text panel, forget this top button here, you're going to see create new caption track. Now you also have import captions from file. We'll get to that in just a second here, but let's create a new caption track. And when you do that, you're going to see that this new little dialog pops up right here where you can choose your format. Now, again, whether you're doing closed captioning or you have specific caption standards that you need to adhere to, you can choose them here. Already, this is way easier than the previous captions workflow. Frankly, I hadn't touched it in about 18 to 24 months, and there was a reason for that. It was really confusing, very slow, and just, you know, it needed work. It had been in there quite a while. We've revamped it. So for this, we're going to choose the standard subtitle here, okay? Again, I'm pointing this out because for those of you around the world who might need to create these caption standard types, CEA 708, 608, EBU subtitles, OP47, etc., this is where you'll find them right at the start of the process here. Now we have this ability to add a style. We're going to get to that in a second. I haven't created any styles in this project just yet. What this will allow you to do is, let's say you create, again, your own unique caption style with your own unique coloring, with your own unique font. That can be saved and then reapplied to subsequent captions in the project. Let's go ahead and click OK on this. And now we have this nice blank canvas. So of course, we're going to start a caption block right at the beginning. So to do that, I'm going to add a new captions segment. Now, any of you who've watched me on Adobe Live over the last couple of years, you know that I'm not great with shortcuts. I just can't retain them. I don't know what it is. I know the same 6 that I've known for 20 years. But this is one that you're going to want to know. And more importantly, you do have customizable keyboard shortcuts for the captions workflow. So real briefly, just to kind of get into the weeds here, to get into a little of the nerd areas, let's go into keyboard shortcuts under the Premiere Pro menu here. I believe that's under the Edit menu on the PC. I can't remember exactly. And under here, we're going to simply type Caption. Okay. And this is going to show you all of the new keyboard shortcuts that are either pre-assigned or you can user define and assign them yourself. So the first one here, add captions track. So in lieu of hitting that plus button that we just saw, we could instead type Option Command A. That's already pre-configured. That's done for you. These are editable, of course, as well. The other one, which we're going to find very, very useful in a moment here, is add new caption segment at playhead. All right. Option Command C. I guess that would be Alt Option C on the PC. All right. This one is the most important one, and you'll see why. Okay. But Option Command A, Option Command C. Okay. So let's go ahead and add one. So I'm going to do just that. What did I say it was? I already forgot. Option Command C. Okay. And you can see in here, it says new caption with time code. It's default 3 seconds in duration, and it's already added the text on our video. Okay, so naturally I have to play it back to hear what I'm saying in here. So let's see what that is. Hi, it's Jason Levine from Adobe. Okay, ooh, look at that. Always a great stop frame. Hi, it's Jason Levine from Adobe. That's probably gonna be the first caption, right? So I'm simply going to double click in here. Hi, comma, it's Jason Levine from Adobe. Period. Okay? You can see it types it right on screen. All right. And to get out of that editing caption block, I'm simply going to hit the escape key and hit play. Hi, it's Jason Levine from Adobe. Here. All right. Let's rewind a little bit. Adobe. Here's. All right. Always with the closed eye. Okay. Now, if I wanted to drag the edge of this, what's really nice, you'll see that we have this new caption subtitle track. It's even separated from the video tracks and the audio tracks here. Now that you can't expand the height of this, I already had some people asking me that. That's by design, but it's in its own subtitle track. Now, if I wanted to adjust the edge so that I could start the new caption, I can drag it just like I would any other piece of video. So what's really nice about this is that in general, the editing, tweaking, timing process for adjusting the caption blocks is just like editing video. But this is where that other keyboard shortcut comes in, because now I effectively want that next caption to start right when my eyes are closed. So I'm going to go to, what is it? Option Command C. And what you'll see is that it automatically creates the next block for me. Okay? Super easy. Now, I could go up there and tap the plus button again. I could trim it. I don't have to do that. Option Command C. I just can't retain this shortcut. What's wrong with me? Okay, let's play back and hear what we've got. Here's what you missed this week on Adobe Live. Okay. Here's what you missed this week on Adobe Live. Okay? You can see it correct itself there. Hi, it's Jason Levine from Adobe. Here's what you missed this week on Adobe Live. Today, okay. That's typing captions. Real simple. Now, something else that you have up here, just to point out a couple of the options in the panel. Okay? So here you have split segment. So as you might imagine, if I were to place the cursor in the middle here and hit split segment, it's going to do just that. It's going to create an edit, right? Duplicate the same text. Note that the time code here continues to adjust accordingly. So it's doing all of that work for you, okay? And then you also have merge segments. So if you've got, sometimes you might have two caption blocks for a single sentence, maybe the SRT, maybe you've generated them externally, and it created two blocks where really it should just be one. You could highlight the two, right? Select both and say merge segments. And you can see it just did that. It just merged all of the text into a single caption block, okay? Really useful. Because again, sometimes just, maybe you have a very long sentence. I'm the first to say I embrace run-on sentences every now and again. Not an uncommon thing to happen, especially in the live stream world. So perhaps you want to merge, or you want to split, or you want to adjust, or I want to add a new one right here. Fortunately for us, I have that little transition on Adobe Live. Today we're going, all right, so I'd wind back again. Here we are, right about here. And again, Option Command C, place my new caption block. Today we're going to be talking about how dynamic link, okay. So right about there. Today we're going to be talking about, hi, it's Jay. All right, let's edit this one here. Okay. Today we're going to be talking about, all right, I'll leave the dots in there. Today we're going to be talking about how, okay, and then again, Option Command C, you get the idea, okay? So once you've done this, once you've created those captions, and of course I have a finished one here for you, now this is where it gets really interesting. So first of all, you will have noticed that as I was scrubbing through all of this, if you're paying attention to the left-hand side here, as I scrub through, it's scrolling and following the text, the caption blocks in real time. This is great because one, it allows you to really see the timing. It allows you to adjust the timing if necessary. And remember, you can always slip and slide just like with video at the frame level, super easy. But it also just allows you to keep everything in check as you're doing this all dynamically, okay? Just gonna check our chats here. Roland Cullenberg, I'm sort of disappointed it wasn't named Essential Text Panel. That's a good one, Roland. All right, very nice. Okay. Reverb Mike, could we just do this with regular text? I'm not sure what you mean by that. If you mean, can you just do it by like importing a text file? Well, here's the interesting thing, Mike, and we're gonna get to this in just a moment. When you export the SRT, which we're going to do in a moment here, you can open that in a text editor, and in theory, you could create an SRT by following the format. It's a standard format that the SRT uses with that file extension. But no, you can't just like, I don't know if you're just trying to open like a text file without the proper time coding to import that. And you're not using the text tool here. Of course, you're doing this within the subtitle Captions panel or the text panel. So I hope that kind of answered your question there. Okay, So again, we've got our cascading caption blocks following in real time. But you may have noticed already that our original, this one, with this admittedly slightly funky looking Minion Pro, I don't know why we chose that as the default. That seems to be the default. And here's the one that I landed on in the end, which was Avenir. This is the stylization that I was talking about, okay? So this is where things get really, really cool. Now you can stylize individual blocks, or if you select everything, because likely you're going to want to change everything simultaneously, here's where we can modify that. So first and foremost, again, you have the ability to change your font, okay? So here in this case, what are we using? Avenir Light. Again, I could go to, Avenir Condensed. I could choose any additional font in here that I want. Barracuda, all right? This is really where it gets super cool because you're no longer tied to the 3 or 4 text styles that you have typically seen with captions. They can be anything, all right? I don't like Barricada, not Barracuda. Sorry, I have heart on the brain, I guess. So let's go back to Avenir Light, all right? Now, let's go on and talk about some of the other options here. So of course you have all of your justification. I have everything center justified. We can have things left or right justified or however we want it. The reason where that gets interesting is because you also have this align and transform grid that allows you absolute positioning. So you can position your caption blocks off to the left-hand side. Oh, did my East Coast just come out there? Off. Right-hand side, top center, left. You get the idea here. You can move all of these around. And this is where I say, now we're doing this globally. We're moving the position of all of those blocks. So all of them would adhere to that bottom left corner. The really nice thing is that, you've seen this with shows, right? There's some times where, and I have a drop shadow on here. We'll get to the appearance in a second. But sometimes there's like a single cut where the captions in that native position, they're obscured. Maybe it's just very blown out. In this case, I'm using white captions. Even there's a drop shadow, but maybe it's too hard to read, or there's something that's conflicting with the text on screen. So that's where you could select an individual caption block, change its position, change whatever. You don't have to change the font, of course, and then let all the others stay the same. So you have a lot of flexibility here. You also have positional offsets. All right, so you can see here you can offset the horizontal, vertical, all right, horizontal size, vertical size. So this makes it really, really simple to, again, just give a real custom position for the captions. And then, of course, the appearance, right? So as you're seeing more and more across your streaming networks, some, are defaulting to this kind of standard white caption. Some use a background box, right? So maybe you want something like this, right? We added this background box in Essential Graphics, I don't know, a year or so ago. You can choose your color. Maybe you want it to be, in this case, it's like a gray. It could be a color if you wanted it to be. It doesn't have to be gray. It could be anything. It could be whatever you want. I'm not saying that stylistically looks good. It just can be whatever you want. Of course, you've got your opacity settings here. You've got your ability to grow that box. And this is responsive as well. So it will flow. It will move and change as the text grows, moves, and changes, right? So you can see, I don't have to think about that. Is the box going to adjust in size? When you enable that background box, it's automatically going to do that. And then, of course, we have the drop shadow here, which if you have the box, you probably don't need the drop shadow. Drop shadows are kind of nice sometimes. Again, if you're on something where, in this case, because this is the UI of the app, it's so dark, I don't really need the drop shadow, but it's a stylistic choice, okay? So once you have all of that, and let's just keep the background box for now. Let's say I think that's brilliant. Now we can go up to track style. Now this is not to be confused with master styles, although it's basically master styles for captions, right? And here's where now I can say, let's go ahead and create one. So I need to deselect everything. Just choose one block in this case. And I'm going to create a style from the look of that block, which happens to be uniform across all of them, okay? And we'll call this white text shadow box. Okay, all right. And then maybe maybe we do an alternate with yellow text. All right, I happen to really like that, that yellow Hulu style. Okay, maybe even make it slightly more orange so we can go a little deeper in color. Also note our little indicator here telling us like we're going out of the bounds of legal colors here. All right, something like that. Same thing, come over here, and maybe I'll do this without the drop shadow. And I'll create another style. Yellow text gray box. Avenir, whatever. All right, put the actual text name in there, okay? So now you can see we've got two specific styles. And now I just changed that single captions block, right? But again, we can now globally affect all of these very easily. And these get saved with the project. Now, I've already talked to some of our team members about this. And I don't know if that's necessarily going to change, because a lot of people would say, well, I've created all these styles in other projects. What if I want to bring them into new projects? At present, those styles stay with the project that you create them in. That may or may not change. But it gets really interesting when you, again, start to bring in captions or want to create something else. You can quickly apply that style. So let's go ahead and do that. So using the same video, which is Masterclass promo. Okay, so let me go ahead and create a new sequence from this clip. Here we are again, okay? And let's go back to this original one here. And now we're going to create an SRT file. Now again, I'm just going to re-import this, but this is just showing you how freaking awesome this is. So you've got your captions, the timing, everything is brilliant. And now you want to create a file that you can upload directly to YouTube. Right? YouTube does a good job, but sometimes it misses a few things, particularly if you've got, you know, proper names and spellings. Amazingly, it usually gets my name right, but not always. You can create the file that YouTube wants to add those custom captions. And it is a standard file type. And now you can create that SRT right from within the text panel here. So we're going to choose Export to SRT File. And I'm going to call this Masterclass live today, okay? Because I already created one earlier. File format, SRT captions file, save, okay? And it creates the SRT. Now again, I could take this video, upload to YouTube, upload the SRT, we're done. Or let's go to this new one that we have here, right? No captions yet. File import, or again, I can import captions from file. Let's go to our desktop here. Masterclass live today .srt. Import, imports the file. Choose our format, subtitle. Choose our style. So this is where that gets really cool, right? Because now we're in the project. The styles that we've created are already here waiting for us. So let's go with that white text, shadow, and box. Now your start point, again, it'll adhere to source timecode, playhead position, or timeline start. In this case, all of those are the same. I do have it at the beginning of the timeline. It is in fact starting at 0, and the source timecode also starts at 0. So I'll just leave it with the default. But again, depending upon your source, it may start at 2 hours, 3 minutes, 6 seconds, 10 frames. It will respect that, okay? Go ahead and that's going to depend on if you had the SRT generated externally, you sent it to a service where your video had timecode, they'll respect those timecodes as they generate it for you. Click OK. It builds the captions track for us, right, with our individual blocks. You can see the stylization has already been applied. And now when we play it back, hi, it's Jason Levine from Adobe. Here's what you missed this week on Adobe Live. Today we're going to be talking about how Dynamic Link works with After Effects and Premiere Pro. Okay? That's captioning. All right. Just checking here. Okay. Oh, and thank you. Brian is saying, yes, you can export the style or using productions, create a sub-project as a collection. Yes, so that's another way to do it. again, the export would be part of that process to bring it into something else. Probably in the end, just as, I mean, the truth is, it's 3 clicks, right? It's font choice, color, box or no box, drop shadow or no shadow. I don't know if it's easier or quicker or faster to just export it and re-import it. Maybe, doesn't really matter. But that's awesome. Thank you for that, Brian. Brian, my fellow Adobe colleague who helped me put all of this together when we showcased this in Max. So you should ask him questions about it right now. All right. Okay, so Roland, they answered yours. Okay. All right, John answered yours. Okay. I see here. Very cool. All right. Nice. Okay. All right. So that is captioning in a nutshell. Again, I'm going to have a prepared video on this on my YouTube channel that you'll be able to see. That'll be chapterized. It'll take you through all the various, I mean, we're skipping just minor things here, mostly around editing and having different speakers with captions and how it handles that and positioning and stuff. So I'll cover that in the upload video, but this is enough to get you started, and it just works great. And exporting the SRT is, I mean, again, if you're paying a service to do this now, you can still do that, or you can create the captions quickly, use those keyboard shortcuts I mentioned, export the SRT, and save yourself some money. I don't know what the rates are these days for auto caption, for captioning services. Not trying to take work away from them, but now you can do it all in-house really easily. Okay, so now we're going to transition over to After Effects and talk a little bit about the ability to create MOGRTs with replaceable video content, okay? So again, for those of you new to the concept of MOGRTs, MOGRT stands for Motion Graphics Template. This is a format that we created, which you can, one, build in After Effects. You can build these natively in Premiere Pro. And motion graphics templates can be anything. It can be lower third elements. It can be animated text overlays. It could be graphical transitions. It could be anything that you create in After Effects, which can include 3D objects, 3D spinning things, all of the effects and things that you can use in After Effects natively can be part of a MOGRT. If you use third-party effects, those can also be part of a MOGRT, but the person on the other end would need those same effects to have them rendered properly. But the nice thing about this is that you can build standard graphical elements that you can click and drag and reuse easily directly in Premiere Pro and still make them editable. And one of the things that we previously didn't allow you to do, since I think the beginning of MOGRTs, you've been able to add video into the motion graphics template. So if you wanted like a video layer, think of like a show intro and you had some kind of video playing and then there was text and stuff flying in, you could have that video there. The only limitation was there was no way to change or swap out that video. Now, there were ways, if they were created on the After Effects side, that you could fake it by adding a slider control and placing a series of videos in a comp, and then effectively using this slider to allow you to scrub through different video layers, different videos. There were ways to kind of do it before. It was a little clunky. Again, unless you were kind of an After Effects pro, you probably wouldn't have figured it out necessarily. The slider controls are awesome, but not everyone uses those. We've made it super easy now. So here's kind of a really basic example of where you might want to use replaceable video in a motion graphics template. So I'm going to be going on a sabbatical shortly here, 20 years at Adobe, and I'll be taking some time off. And one of the things I was doing is maybe I'm going to do just a couple of, not a series, but I have a bunch of projects I want to do. And one of them is kind of exploring the various places that we used to tour around the world. One of those being Egypt and many other places around the world. So I'm going to have a standard kind of text intro for this little series. Now, again, I'm no great animator. And again, if you've watched me before, you know that text in general just frightens me. I never know which font to choose and what cool styles are. This is where I defer to my colleagues Rufus and Terry and Paul. What's cool now? Is it thin fonts? This is Fat Frank. I love this font here. I never know. I know people are like, just use what you want. Well, anyway, I stress about that stuff. But in any case, I made this very simple text animation here. All right, explore Egypt. And the concept is that every episode is going to have explore some location. So the explore won't change, but the location will. I also wanted to preserve the animation that I have on this, okay, which you can see here. And then I want to be able to add video underneath. So again, if we look down into my comp, you can see that I've already got a video layer of the pyramids. I've also added some lumetri color to this just to give it, you know, just a little bit more of a cinematic flair here. So this is what it looks like, okay? Now again, the concept here is that I'm going to reuse those graphical elements, but I want to be able to modify certain parameters of this, including, you know, the city location text, the video underneath, and maybe some of the lumetri options. Here's where this gets really cool. So you may have noticed that I have the Essential Graphics panel open and ready here, all right? So first I'm going to give it a title. We'll call this Explore Show Intro, all right? We need to choose the comp that we're going to drag elements into. So this one is called Replace Video Start, all right? Oh, and I forgot, I'd already done this. So here, let me go ahead and take these things out so I can re-add them all for you. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to now drag the properties that we want editable into the Essential Graphics panel to create our MOGRT. So again, you create the animation, you create what you want in After Effects, and then you as the author can decide, what do I want the user of this motion graphics template to be able to modify? Drag and drop. So simple. Now, we have this function here called Solo Supported Properties, which makes it even easier for you to know, well, what properties can be part of a MOGRT. When you choose that, it will now automatically twirl down all of the various options that are available to be modified as part of that motion graphics template, and they are many. So first and foremost, we want the Egypt text, right? That's the location text to be editable. So I'm going to take the source text, drag it into the panel, and I'll call this location text, all right? Just like that. Now, what do I want to be editable? Obviously the text itself, but this is something that we added a few versions ago, edit properties, okay? Go into edit properties, and now you can choose the source text properties that you allow to be edited. In this case, I'll allow them to maybe adjust the font if they want. That was a nice rhyme. And adjust the font size. That's particularly useful because if we didn't adjust the font size, right, Egypt is only 5 characters. What if it's San Francisco? Well, this is like 200 pixels. Now we've got twice as, 3 times as many characters. It might be off screen. So font size is super necessary. And then again, faux styles, if you're using them, that's up to you. You can make those parameters editable. Click OK, and now you can see that this is what this is what will be revealed to the user, right? The font, the style, and then the size. Real simple. Okay. Now, what else do we want to be editable? Well, we don't need explore because that's going to be in every episode. And you might say, well, what about color? Yes, you can add the color picker to change text color and such. I'm not going to do that because these are kind of the brand colors of the show in this case, right? I always use this particular hue that I just like this. So I'm going to keep them kind of in that color range, but you could certainly add that as an editable parameter. The main one here, of course, is the video itself. So I'm simply going to take the video layer and drag it right into the Essential Graphics panel. It doesn't get any easier than that, all right? And we can call this location video, all right? You can change the thumbnail image of the video here. It's kind of arbitrary. It doesn't really matter. And then I can, again, maybe there's certain elements of the lumetri adjustments that I want to be able to change. Now, for this particular one, I made, again, some changes to highlights, black saturation, intensity, the look that I'm using. So maybe I want that to be editable. Maybe this particular look that I added, this LUT, might be too much for some of the videos. So I can make that an editable parameter by dragging it into here. All right. And you'll get that same drop-down menu that you have. What? You know, when the engineers just nail it in terms of just like user experience, it can't be any easier. I know someone watching this in the replay will go, why is he so excited about this? Because it's exciting. I can just edit that or whatever, or any of those parameters. Yeah, you choose. So the look, maybe the intensity, that's a pretty good one, okay? And let's do the vignette as well, because not everybody loves, and just the vignette amount. I don't need all the parameters here. Again, you can decide. You can rename this vignette amount. I'm going to rename this LUT intensity. By the way, you also have the ability here to add little groups. Oh, you can't see that. There you go. So like I could group some of these things together. You know, I could say this is like color and vignette, and I can drag these things down here. So all that means is that these all just fall with, oh, sorry, I drag them onto it. So it just makes it easier so that in terms of when you export the MOGRT, it just kind of cleans it up. You may have noticed if you're using MOGRTs from Adobe stock, some of them have these twirl down arrows. One, that tells you they were generated in After Effects. Two, it just allows you to organize things. So I like that. Color and vignette, maybe we'll even make this all caps. Okay, color and vignette. Vignette. There we go. Did I spell that right? Okay. Color and vignette, location video, location text. Simple. We're done. That's it. That's all you have to do. So we're going to save this. Okay. And we're going to click on Export Motion Graphics Template. Okay. Let it do its thing. It's creating. Tell it where you want it to go. Now, I've discussed this a lot. This is, again, one of the really brilliant elements of creating a MOGRT is that you can share it or make it accessible to you or others in your organization via a couple of different methods. The first, and the one that I typically, always use and recommend to most, is saving them to a CC library, a Creative Cloud library, which you can see I have many. This is my standard Jason's library, is the first one I created when we first introduced libraries. And what that means is wherever I log into Premiere Pro, this MOGRT will live. It will always be there. Doesn't get any easier than that, right? So I can save it to my CC library. Now, what if I'm working along with somebody? What if I'm collaborating? As Brian mentioned there, if I'm doing a production with other people, maybe I have shared libraries. Here's one that I always use for me and Terry White. So we have a library together that we share stuff, cool things. We can pop it in there. I could save this to Terry's library. This is a shared library. So it'll show up on my desktop. And if Terry were at his desktop now, if I created this right now, it would show up on his. Really simple, really easy, okay? So personal libraries, shared libraries, and then you also have local. So if you want to be able to just create the .mogrt file, and then maybe you prefer I just like to have the file, or maybe you're going to archive this project, so you want to be able to save that MOGRT file. Maybe yes, when it's in the cloud, you can still download, but maybe you just want instant access. The other reason for saving it locally is that even after the fact, you can reopen that MOGRT and all of its native parameters in After Effects by opening as a project in After Effects. Don't open it as a file, open it as a project. It'll extract the elements, and then you'll be able to create a new MOGRT from the source material. So there's benefits to creating the local .mogrt file. 99% of the time, though, I don't need to do that. I just save it to my CC library. You can put in keywords. The reason for that is for search. Search inside of the Essential Graphics, where you have your MOGRTs, They're also in libraries, but you find you can access them easily in Essential Graphics Panel in Premiere. Search can be challenging. Put in keywords that you know you're going to use. Like I could say explore, and it'll come right up. All right, explore, show, title, sequence, intro, animation. Can't type today. Animation. You get the idea. Jason's library. Okay. Here's some warnings around fonts and everything. Again, I mentioned if you're using Adobe fonts, you never have to worry that this thing won't display properly. It'll always look right, no matter who's using it, whom you shared it with. They don't even have to have that font licensed on their machine. When they grab that MOGRT, nowadays we automatically grab the font from Adobe Fonts. There's no limit anymore. We license it in the background for you, and it displays properly. If you use third-party fonts, many of us do, you can create a MOGRT with a third-party font, but the person whom you're sharing it with must also have that font, otherwise it won't display properly, right? This is another reason for always including, I say always, design agencies was like, never. But this is why I always kind of add the font adjustment option properties here, because you never know. But again, as long as you use Adobe fonts, you never have to even think about that. So now that we've made this, let's go back over to Premiere, and I have, let me make a new, I'm gonna make a new sequence here because I already dragged that one in. All right, and we'll call this Media Replace Explore. Okay. Go into Browse. Okay. Explore Intro, here it is. All right. Oh, or did I just create that untitled one? Did I not change the name? I didn't. Did I not change the name of that? You dope. All right, well, that's okay. But that one has a couple of the additional parameters, so let's drag that one. I'm going to take it right from my Essential Graphics panel into Video 2. It's going to load that motion graphics template. Can you get fried chicken yogurt? Ew. Okay. Golden Rose. I don't know what's in the Marshmallow library, but I like it already. We did a contest last year with Marshmallow. And so all of the Marshmallow assets that we used for the contest are in there. And that may have been a global shared library. I can't remember. Okay. So now I've just created a new sequence. I just dragged the MOGRT because this contains everything I need for my show intro, right? If I go ahead and hit play, there's my animation. There's my video. There's my animate out. Just as expected, okay? We can loop this in playback. Wonderful, good to go. But here's where it gets cool, right? Go ahead and click on that, and you see that it automatically goes to the Edit tab, okay? So, first and foremost, text. Now again, maybe the next episode, we're not in Egypt. Where are we gonna be? Well, as it so happens, I believe I have some footage here. Right here, there we go, of San Francisco. So maybe the next episode is San Francisco. So let's type San Francisco. Okay. And as mentioned, can you imagine if I didn't have Resize the font, this is what we get, right? Fortunately for us, we can resize it. Okay. Now, what I also should have done is allow vertical as position because, you know, now it's smaller and it doesn't look as good. All right. That's my bad. We can always go back to After Effects and re-export a new version. You can even drag it over top. You could, if you give it the same name, you can even push those changes. That's something that we did a while back, but we'll come back to that later. Anyway, San Francisco. We could change the font if we want. We can change the size. It might even be nice to do that. But the video itself, all right? This is what we want to change. Now, a couple different ways you can do it. You can, of course, double click right here, or even easier, drag and drop right over top. Done. Wind it back, play it back. Sweet. Now, We added the ability to change the look and the LUT, remember that? But with that text in those colors, and actually even now the size, I'm happy with that. Again, some designers like, no, you need to be able to position it above that building. It's all wrong. Yes. Okay, I'd recreate the MOGRT, all right? See what I'm saying? Now, because we have the color and vignette options, I can change it. Maybe that this particular one, it's a little too much. Maybe we just need to adjust the intensity. So let's see first, intensity adjustment. All right. It's a little bit less. You know, there's 200% and there's 25%. Yeah, so like at 15%, we still get some nice shadow detail, but we could change it all together. Maybe we want blue moon, all right? And readjust that intensity. Or something else here. Okay, whoops. Didn't mean to do that, okay? Do these look like they're not changing to you? These don't act, let me do noir here. This should be black and white now. Huh! The LUT doesn't appear to be changing. Maybe we just found a bug. Hey, Brian, are you in here? Hey, Kevin. You listening? So yes, as Kevin is pointing out, you have positional adjustments here. You can also, as you can see, you can adjust start time of the video, the end point, if it's longer in this case, position, rotation, scale to fill, scale to fit, stretch to fill, however you want it, no scale. But yeah, the look doesn't seem to be changing. So that's interesting. All right, we may have just found something. Let's see about the vignette. Okay, the vignette is working. So we can adjust the vignette. Okay? Don't go reverb mic. All right. Super cool. Okay. So that's media replacement. Real simple. Love creating these. I imagine myself now using these constantly, especially for my little one who's editing his own videos now. We actually already made a couple of MOGRTs, but he likes to have a video intro and he wants to be able to change them out with every hair dye change that he does. So perfect example to do that with replaceable media, okay? Kevin, I didn't know you could add a LUT. I'll have to check that out. Yeah, well, it's in the solo supported properties, but apparently it's not changing. So, but the intensity of the LUT is, and the vignette amount is, so it's probably just a bug. Okay, we will address that. All right, two more things I wanted to show you. Let's dip back to After Effects real quickly. Okay, Quinn, we need more contests. All right. 3D stuff. All right, just a couple of really quick things here. This is the content that I created for, well, I didn't create this. One of our engineers created this. I showcased this during Max. I love this little project here. And just to kind of re-emphasize, you know, we've got all these new 3D tools. So, you know, your dollying tools make it really easy. There's, of course, keyboard shortcuts for all of these. I've forgotten them because I don't do a lot of 3D, as you all know. You know, panning under the cursor. You know, we make this really, really simple. It's also really responsive, even more so than when we showcased this at Max and when it officially released with these tools. They're phenomenally real time. I mean, you can see this is like, you know, for the few things that I've done in C4D, I was always marveling at the fact that 3D manipulation was always just, it was liquid. It's now as liquid in After Effects. But here's where this gets even better, because now you will see we have a new function here called the 3D ground plane. So when I turn that on, it's going to do exactly what you would expect, right? You now have a ground plane and After Effects, which you can see now. This, again, this was created before the ground plane. So most of the content is actually above, or I should say some of it is below the ground plane. But this really allows you to very easily customize and create 3D inside of After Effects just brilliantly, right? And make sure that everything is oriented in the correct sort of 3D perspective and space with access to that ground plane. So this just got added a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. Again, if I were recreating this now, I would of course reposition these things accordingly taking advantage of all of that. It's brilliant. And of course, don't forget that we have the new gizmo here. So if you haven't experienced this yet, this is your new gizmo for moving, rotating, scaling, you know, your objects here. Look at it again. It's liquid. It's so fast. I know when I showed this at in Max, you know, 5 months ago, it was pretty good. It's phenomenally good now. And of course you have, again, this is where the ground plane really comes into play, because now you can see it's giving me the exact pixel coordinates of how I'm moving. Let me see if I can zoom in and show this. Yeah. So of how I'm moving in 3D space relative to where I am. You know, if this is the kind of work you're doing, this is really going to make your life a lot easier. By the way, as I'm making all these adjustments, of course, it's also creating keyframes for all of that. So maybe we push this way back now. Okay, do even more. Send it back. You'll also notice that going into real-time preview, super fast. This is yet another new addition to the recent After Effects as well. Real-time preview of 3D is incredibly fast. Okay, love this. All right. Just looks awesome. This makes me want to do more 3D. I don't really create a lot of this. This, of course, some would say, well, this is 2.5D. These are flat. Yes. Can you bring in other 3D elements? Yes. Can you use, we're using classic 3D. If I wanted to add extrusion and reflections and other things, I could also switch the renderer to Cinema 4D and do that as well, okay? And take advantage of some of those properties. You still have that 3D pipeline between After Effects and Cinema 4D. I always like to remind people too that you can also create Cinema 4D, I almost said comps, Cinema 4D projects using C4D Lite, which gets installed by default with After Effects right from the File New menu. So if you've never explored 3D objects, it's here. It's already here waiting for you. All right. And that C4D Lite, we allow you to upgrade to the full version should you do that, you know, through Maxon. That's entirely up to you, but this is available to you now. All right. So 3D ground plane and 3D real-time preview. All right. Last thing in our last 3 minutes here, I talked about having some new capability or faster processing for warp stabilizer. So I'm going to go ahead. You can't see it. I'm just going to type it here, warp. I'm going to drag the new warp stabilizer onto my clip. It should automatically, hopefully, switch over to my effects controls here. And if you're looking at the processing, this is now processing those frames. Kevin, keep me honest here. I want to say it's like 3 to 4 times faster at a minimum, okay? It's significantly faster. What I've also noticed is that it also seems to now, in a couple of versions ago, this is probably 4 years ago, we made changes to the warp stabilizer where it did less cropping, so it really preserved more of that original shot while still maintaining the space. Oh, that's weird. Why didn't it auto scale? Wow, I didn't like this clip. Good job, dude. It did something really bizarre to this. I don't know what it just did there. Hey, Jace, do you always do this stuff live? Yeah. To the test. Okay. It didn't particularly like that one. I'm not sure what just happened there. Preserve scale? It shouldn't have done any. It should have just auto-scaled it. That's weird that it ended up in that box. No, that's not doing what I want either. Okay, let's try this on another clip that I added in here. This one. Let's see this one. Yeah, let's try this. See how this does. Got 2 more minutes here. All right. Now this is 560 frames. Again, if you've used this before, minus the weird thing that just happened, so much faster. I can tell you that this absolutely took at least a minute or 2 before. It's now happening in literally just a few seconds. So way faster. Let's hope that this doesn't do anything weird. I'm hoping not. Also, am I in the right? Maybe I'm in the, hold on. Maybe my sequence is the wrong size. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's it. New sequence from clip. Let me do this again, because that didn't work either. The analysis phase is way, way faster, and that's why you'll notice it. Yes. Okay, Kev, why is it doing this? Why is it doing this weird scale thing? What's happening there? I don't know what's going on with that. Well, could be a gremlin, friends. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have. Kevin, you're going to have to let me know what's going on just there. Should we reanalyze Warp Stabilizer if we just updated? Well, Quinn, I'm going to tell you based on what just happened to me, you know, caveat emptor. Do it on a duplicate of the project. I'm not sure what's happening here. Action safe margin? No, that should really be changing. I'm not sure, but that's okay. In any case, friends, we've got more Adobe Live coming up for you. So thank you so much. We'll see you again next week, which will be the last one on Twitter Periscope because it's going away on Twitter Periscope. Well, Periscope is going away. So until then, have a great rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. We'll see you again next time. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.